Crescendo of chaos. In the quaint and isolated village of Harmon's Hollow, life was tranquil and serene until the enigmatic composer, Adrian Valmont, arrived. Claiming to possess the unparalleled ability to evoke the deepest of human emotions through his music, Adrian quickly captured the attention and curiosity of the villagers. With eager anticipation, the town gathered in the old community hall for his inaugural concert, unaware of the darkness that was about to descend upon them. As the first haunting notes resonated through the air, a chilling breeze swept through the hall, leaving a sense of unease in its wake. As the symphony progressed, the music intensified, and the villagers began to experience disturbing visions. Faces twisted in agony appeared before them, and tormented whispers filled their ears, speaking of despair and doom. Panic ensued as the once captivated audience realized that they were trapped in a nightmare, with Adrian's music holding them hostage. In the days that followed, the village was engulfed in chaos and terror. People were tormented by incessant whispers and haunting apparitions, driving some to madness and others to commit unspeakable acts. The once harmonious village was now a symphony of screams, with Adrian continuing to conduct his eerie performances, seemingly feeding off the despair and terror that permeated the air. Amidst the turmoil, a local journalist, Clara Mitchell, decided to delve deeper into Adrian's mysterious past, determined to uncover the truth behind the horrifying events. Her investigation led her to discover a trail of destruction, as she found records of other towns that had experienced similar incidents, all of which were left in ruins after Adrian's departure. With a growing sense of dread, Clara realized that Adrian was not just a composer, but a maestro of madness, using his music to drain the life and sanity from his audience. His symphonies were not creations of art, but rather dark rituals that allowed him to feed off the suffering of others. Armed with her newfound knowledge, Clara confronted Adrian, challenging him to end his reign of terror. But Adrian, reveling in the chaos he had created, simply smiled and declared that the final movement of his symphony was yet to be played. As the night fell, Adrian held one last concert, inviting the remaining villagers and Clara to attend. With a wicked grin, he began to play, his music more haunting and oppressive than ever before. The hall was filled with the sounds of torment and despair as the villagers succumbed to the darkness. But Clara, fueled by her determination to end the nightmare, fought against the onslaught of terror. With every ounce of her strength, she resisted Adrian's symphony, finally breaking free from his control. In the moment of her triumph, the music came to an abrupt halt, and Adrian collapsed, his power extinguished. The villagers, now freed from his dark influence, looked around in confusion and horror, realizing the extent of the nightmare they had endured. Adrian's reign of terror was finally over. The Silent Callers. Every night, at precisely 3:33 a.m., Max's sleep was splintered by the silent screams of a phone call, the screen lighting up with a number that offered no answers, only a void-like silence. Max, a freelance coder who had an affinity for unraveling mysteries, found himself entangled in an enigma that gnawed at the fringes of his reality. The calls, void of voice and reason, sent a shiver down Max's spine. A digital whisper from the abyss. Curiosity turned to obsession, and Max employed his skills to trace the origin. The digital breadcrumbs led to a derelict structure swallowed by time and overgrowth. The Willowdale Asylum, abandoned and forgotten by all but the howling winds that spoke of its sorrow. Armed with a crowbar for the locks and a brave if naive determination, Max trespassed into the asylum under the cloak of night. The building was a mausoleum of madness, its walls lined with the echoes of despair. The deeper he ventured, the heavier the air became, charged with a static that made his hair stand on end. Finally, Max stumbled upon an office untouched by vandals, the dust undisturbed except for the phantom vibration of a phone call that seemed to resonate from everywhere and nowhere. An ancient telephone, its rotary dial, an anachronism in the digital age, sat upon a desolate desk. It rang, cutting through the silence, and Max, driven by a force beyond comprehension, answered. "Hello." His voice was a stranger in this sepulchral chamber. The response was a cacophony of sounds, a hospital intercom announcing codes, the wails of the disturbed, and beneath it all, a voice that mirrored his own, begging for release. The room spun, and Max fell into darkness. He awoke to fluorescence, the asylum alive with chilling activity. Nurses and doctors moved with purpose, their faces obscured by shadows. The patients, their eyes hollow, seemed to peer through him. Max realized, with a sinking horror, that he was not among the living. This was a reality where Willowdale Asylum thrived, a hellish dimension that mirrored his own, where the line between sanity and insanity was scribbled in the shaky hand of a tormented scriber. Max was a specter in this world, able to see but not interact. The ghostly phone was his anchor, the lifeline between his reality and this aberrant one. He needed to sever the connection, to silence the calls, but each attempt was thwarted by an unseen force that seemed to feed on his despair. Days, or was it weeks, passed in a blur, the asylum's routine a macabre dance of suffering. It was during these endless cycles that Max discovered the truth. He was not alone in his spectral state. Others were trapped, each a victim of the 3:33 am calls, each having answered the siren song of the telephone. Together, they uncovered a ritual, a chance to break the cycle. It required them to realign the frequencies of their reality with the asylum's twisted one. The office, the heart of this connection, would be the site of their liberation. The ritual was a harrowing ordeal of will and wits. Max and his companions channeled the energy of both worlds, the telephone ringing incessantly as they worked. And then, with a final, thunderous ring, silence fell. Max found himself back in his apartment, the digital clock blinking 3:34 am. Relief washed over him in an almost holy wave. The nightmare at an end, but the victory was bittersweet. The social media specter. In Silverwood, a close-knit group of friends noticed a chilling anomaly on social media, a faceless specter haunting the backgrounds of their photos. This eerie presence aligned with a series of unsettling disappearances in their small town, casting a shadow over their online interactions. Intrigued and fearful, they delved into local lore and cyber myths, unearthing tales of a cursed mirror known to imprison souls. They tracked down the accursed object in a dusty antique store, where a mirror with a silver frame and abyss-like glass beckoned them. The legend suggested that the last owner's vanity had led to his downfall, trapping his soul within the mirror. The friends realized the faceless specter was this man, now a digital ghost yearning for release. Determined to sever the curse, Chloe volunteered to exchange her reflection for the specter's. As they snapped a photo of Chloe before the mirror, the digital and reflected presences merged, and the specter gained a human form once more, stepping out with a mixture of relief and guilt. Chloe's image faded from the world, her essence now trapped in a limbo between reality and the digital realm. Social media photos returned to normal, but the once vibrant Chloe was now a wandering blank visage, a new specter. The man, freed from his digital prison, disappeared with the mirror, leaving behind a haunting legacy.